So, good morning, everyone. I'm happy to be with you today. Today is 8th of March. It's the International Women's Day, and the theme of our event is Women in EdTech. So, what is the relation between women and educational technology? And that's what we are going to see now. But basically, the link for us is our master degree in educational technology in University of Tartu. This blended program that brought us from around the world to learn more about educational technology and give us a space to enhance our work practices and our motherhood practices in some occasions. I'm happy today to be among my colleagues and to have a co-moderator with me and my colleague, Anastasia Shinova. Good morning, Anastasia.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here. So, let me introduce myself briefly. My name is Anastasia, and I'm a teacher in Estonian school. I'm also a current student of this master's. So, as I believe, it's not anymore an option to be one thing or another. You pretty much have to be both. So we are in the right place right now. Pleasure to welcome you here.
That's awesome. And I think as a teacher, you are learning a lot, although due to COVID, you are having the whole program online. Yeah.
We have switches. We have online, on-site, so no stability, but a lot of practice, yes. And as you said, it's a blended program, so I could pretty much work throughout the program, and that helped me and helped my students and my co-workers to deal with a lot of troubles in our workplace during this year.
And I think one of the most beautiful facts about this program is the variety and the enrichment of people attending this program. So, for example, I got graduated in 2019, and now you are 2021 potential graduate, and we have different people from different places, from different backgrounds. So we will see this now with our speakers. So let me go to our speakers. Thank you, Ilkay, Prima, and Tatty Johnson for accepting our invitation to speak today, and for accepting the invitation also to share your practices and best experiences with our audience. The three of you came from different backgrounds: IT, biomedical, mathematics. The three of you are mothers, and the three of you came to Tartu to study educational technology. And we are curious to know everything about you, your best practices, your best experiences. So we were going to start today with Ilkay. Ilkay, you got graduated from the master in 2018, and you are basically a mathematician. Also, you are a great thinker, and you also managing Tartu International School. I wouldn't talk too much because whatever I would say, it wouldn't be enough to talk about you. I mean, so welcome with me, Ilkay. Ilkay, the floor is yours. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you. So as Marvo already said, my name is Ilkay, and I work in Tartu International School. It used to be a very small school. Now it's growing. So this year we have 82 students. So it's the biggest it has been. We also have kindergarten. So in my work, I also have to help the kindergarten teachers actually, as I'm the educational technologist for the whole organization. And as Marvo already said, I started working in this school in 2003 as a math teacher. So this was my major at the university. And somehow logically it happened that in the school, like in Estonia, a lot of this programming and this robotics was promoted. We had a lot of trainings for the teachers that I attended also. So it was me then who started to run the clubs in our school for programming and robotics and with the computers. So at one point there was also another person who was more responsible for the technical side and maybe designing things and so on. So it was two of us sharing this let's say, this IT and technology side, the support for the teachers. But then, as in many schools in Estonia, this IT maintenance was given to the companies, the different companies. So it was bought in for the school. So this happened to us also. And the more and more the teachers started to use technology in their lessons. So we felt that there was actually really a need for the support. And with the time, the teachers started to ask more and more me what to do when this and this happens, or when, I don't know, even with the to assist with the copy machine and things like that. And why was it so that they mostly asked me is what I think myself is that I realized that we have this common knowledge, Google, and I could really well Google things. And actually I didn't give up. So I was searching so long when I got the answers from different forums or wherever. So I was really good at this. And then the other teachers thought that I know everything, but they didn't know that I'm actually really good at Googling and reading sites and looking at the videos. And I was patient enough to actually find my answers. So then logically it happened so that I became the one that they came and asked questions, and then I was also assigned as this educational technologist for our school. Though my workload was already actually quite big, but so it happened. And then in I think it was 2016 or 17 when Tartu University sent out a letter that they are starting a program, educational technology. And actually I saw this letter and I was thinking that I can't attend it. My workload is already so big. And I actually passed this email to our colleagues. So I was hoping that somebody else will go and study. But then our principal came and said, no, you have to go and study. So this is why do you think, why are you not going? And so that's how it happened that I studied education and technology. This master's degree I finished in 2018, I think it was. Yes, and then so now I'm the educational technologist of the school, and I think it was great timing for me and our school also because of what happened now last year. So when we were on distance learning and all these things, so we were really well prepared because during my studies, I as you all know, you actually take your colleagues or your students, and they are the basis for your studies. So this is what I did also. I worked a lot with my colleagues and a little bit also with, no, not a little bit, but quite a lot with my students also. So it was actually very smooth to start with this distance learning last spring for us. So when this special equation or arrangement was announced in Estonia, then we had this crisis meeting with all the teachers, and then we discussed how and what will we do, how we will do this distance learning. And after 1 week of doing it, then we made some modifications. We agreed to have the video meetings from the beginning. So I know many schools didn't do the video meetings, but we always had the video meetings by the timetable. We modified the timetable so it's like the students and the teachers can actually cope with this. So we didn't have this regular timetable that we usually had. So, and all the teachers almost all the teachers were participating in the crisis meeting, and actually it was quite smooth for us. But how much more time do I have, Marva? So I could.
You still have time, and I think you're doing good, so you can
Okay.
continue.
So about the biggest challenges during this distance learning time, now it's less. So now I think now we can swim already, but then last year we had to learn how to swim. So then this were like some technical problems, of course. For example, very funny example, maybe one student didn't have his microphone working on his school's laptop. So our students could take the laptops home from the school also. So the microphone was not working. I was already like, I tried so many different things. So really it was a big work to get the microphone working. And then, but finally we found out the microphone button was switched off like from the keyboard. And I didn't come off that, and the student didn't notice it himself. So it was actually, it took me a lot of time to investigate why the microphone might not be working, but it was very, very simple solution actually. So, and with the teachers also, there were, some teachers are better at using technology, for some it's more difficult and challenging. So I supported them also, though I had almost like a full-time teaching job also. So I had to do also these online lessons, and it all took actually, my workload really rose because of this, like the video lessons and then checking and so on. So this was this was really a challenge to balance the time for yourself, that you don't only work at home. And the other thing is also that I have 3 kids of my own who also were on the distance learning, so I had to support them. So when my lessons finished, or like in the breaks or something, then I was helping them also. So I had like a double job to do. And actually, in that sense, it was really good that I was a teacher myself, and the educational technologies, I knew how to help them. But I'm thinking about these parents who didn't know even what is Zoom or how to use, I don't know, some different like Google Slides or whatever. So these parents were probably really like in a difficult situation. So for me, it was easier with my own personal children. But what else was really challenging was for me was this, that it's connected to the time again, that I started to read and learn a lot from the other teachers' experiences. This is where I say really big thank you to Facebook actually, because I joined many different Facebook groups, and I was every day learning something new. So and then I was also what I've learned, and I wanted to show to our teachers also. So this was another side why I think I was so the time was only like, I felt that I was only working basically from the morning to the evening. I was only working. So, and it was somehow a wheel also that I couldn't, or the snowball, so I couldn't stop it when I knew that there will be so many interesting posts from the other teachers, so many interesting environments and things. So I wanted to learn everything, and I wanted to pass it on to our teachers. So this was also something where I was really stuck in this. So I couldn't stop doing it. I was like really learning a lot. So for this spring, or actually when we were last time in the distance learning, I decided that I will not do it so much anymore. So because I think I can, and our teachers can also do this remote teaching quite well. So I don't look at the posts so much anymore. If there is something interesting, of course, but now I'm just here for the teachers for support if they need something, but I don't put new things for them, or I don't. So because right now the situation is anyway very stressful, and I think if they cope well with the tools that they have, so this is how they can do it, and how they can learn it. And in the last spring, I think also what was different in the goals that we set ourselves is that the last spring we thought that we cannot, we have to have the same quality of teaching as we have it in the class. But now we are more experienced. We know that we have to actually protect ourselves also. Now it's more about surviving this time. So that if we shouldn't stress too much, for example, if we have planned a great lesson, like really great online lesson, we have planned that we're doing this, and this. But for example, if something doesn't work out, like, I don't know, some students, like really, we have to work with this, that the microphones don't work, or the video doesn't work, or some technical equipment. So we don't get so much stressed on it. And so it is. This is the situation right now. We have to cope with this, and we shouldn't stress too much, because there is so much stress anyway around us. And hopefully the students can come back to school soon, and then we will learn together again. And so it is. It's everywhere the same. Everywhere the situation, and we just have to keep ourselves like on a good health. So
this is terrific, Ilkay, and basically I always see you like an older sister, or like a supporter for the program, because basically most of any one of us who would like to have a sort of testing in Estonia, you always open your doors for your school doors for us to come in, to see what's going there, to try. I had a trial with you. Another colleague of mine, Eric, had a trial with you. And before COVID restrictions, we used to visit your school and see how you are running things. So you are always a good host for everyone coming and giving us positive vibes, cooperation in Estonia. And this is really wonderful. I wish that other students from this year and coming years would have this chance as soon as possible. And I hope that COVID would be over so we can meet physically again. Thanks, Ilkay. That was really great.
Can I make one more comment?
Yeah.
When you mentioned about these Facebook groups that you were joined, I'm researching Facebook groups actually, and what you said was exactly what the numbers have shown in my research, that this huge activity in the beginning, and now it's not as much. And I was thinking, why is it, like, are they not interested anymore? And now you said perfect sentence, that I don't look at the posts anymore, teachers are doing well. So I think I noted that. So I think I'm gonna use that and look more into that side, because I didn't think of that. Thank you.
Yeah, I also appreciate that you shared that you care a lot about the students' well-being and the teachers' well-being, because that, and the parents' well-being, you mentioned that as well. This is like really important during this challenging times, weird times. And yeah, I appreciate that your school is supporting that. And going back to our second speaker, Tatty Johnson, it was a perfect introduction to start with you. So she graduated in 2020, the COVID year. And as she said, she was studying the online teachers communities and for her master's, and she liked it so much. So she continued her studies in Cambridge doctorate program. So Tatty, the floor is yours. Share with us. What did you find?
I'm not going to talk about what I found. I get super excited about learning new things about this topic, but today I came as a different person.
Perfect.
I always get confused when I have to introduce myself, but I thought of myself that today I am a woman, a mother, and a learner, student as well, but I will probably mostly talk about myself as a learner. I don't have much teaching experience. I tried teaching. It was very, very hard and I quit. But I am very interested. I have been very interested in education, in the learning. So, but I'm going to go back to my notes. So I come from a techie background. Starting from my childhood, I was actually a teacher of the computer when the computers were very new, my family had this old computer. They loaned it and they had to pay monthly credit. And to pay that credit, my father was delivering some lessons. He was a tinker, and I was also looking at those lessons, and I learned myself the computer. And then when he was away, I was delivering those lessons. Two women, twice triple my age, but I only now remember that last night. Anyway, so I was interested in computers, and I got my Bachelor of Science in Informational Technology. It took me 8 years to actually get my bachelor, because before I got there, I tried different fields. I tried medical school, I tried law school, and finally I graduated from a local university in my hometown. And we were more women than men in our faculty. And I also wanted to note that we women were much better students, and we were helping our male colleagues pass their exams. Last night, I stalked my female colleagues on Facebook to see what they're doing right now, and none of their jobs seem techy. But that's normal. Then I Googled some of the stats, and that's like normal everywhere in the world. So I'm not surprised at that. So anyway, this 8 years of getting my bachelor made me even more curious about learning, but I was not very satisfied by the quality these institutions were giving me. So I started to look for other options, and I knew about computers and online world. So I looked and I found MOOCs, massive open online courses, which are free to enroll, Coursera and edX and some other. And I thought I discovered a new world. I was content. Even during my bachelor's, I was enrolled in lots of MOOCs. I was content. I was not dependent on educational institution anymore. And I thought this was the way to go. I even got certificates, which I could put in my CV and could use it for job interviews and stuff. So anyway, I still finished it because I was already in the university, but I wasn't thinking too much about continuing my studies. And I remember one day I was taking this MOOC from Harvard University about programming language, and I was in the middle. It was quite a hard course. And during one of the problem sets that I had to solve, and I dreamt about it like almost every night, because I was into it and I couldn't solve this. And that was the first time when I thought that I would really like to have a person who would guide me through the steps and maybe help me solve this code, because I wasn't able to. I was Googling and everything, but it didn't help. I really needed someone to explain it to me. And at that time, my kids were already starting schools, and I was hit with huge wave of disappointment about the way they were treated in school. My older kid, I had to switch schools 3 times in his first year. And at the same time, I had to fight with the teachers to prove my position, like why I thought so passionate about the way that he shouldn't have been treated. But I felt like we were speaking different languages. We were on different planets. I didn't understand them. They didn't understand me. And I saw my limitations. I didn't know much about teaching. I didn't know pedagogical approaches to terms, and who was I to speak to them and tell them how to treat my kid? So, and at the time later, I moved abroad and I had to start applying for new jobs. So I thought it was a good opportunity to get my master's degree. And here comes my big confession. I applied for the Tartu EdTech just to get the degree. I was not dependent on institutions to provide me with some big knowledge because of my bad experiences in the past. So I just wanted to finish and get the degree, put it in a diploma, and then show the teachers, here I have some kind of educational knowledge. So, but it changed from the beginning in Tartu. It changed, and I started actually learning because of learning, not because of finishing and getting the grades at the end, which was a big surprise for me. It kind of astonished me and changed a lot of my understanding about education. And sorry, I'm going to look at my notes because I don't remember what I wanted to say after that. Yeah, so what I realized was that during this course was that I was living in these illusions that technology was everything, but it was not everything. I suddenly was among these awesome teachers from all over the globe, and I was hearing about their experiences, their different practices, and I was hearing their language. I was actually speaking with the teachers, and I was seeing how much of the limitations the technology has. What I was missing during these MOOCs was this human touch. And what I saw during this online course, mostly online program, was still online, but we were still interacting like we are now. I see some of your faces, and I see that you are humans behind the screen. And with MOOCs, for example, there are so many of them, you don't feel them. And I even took one SPOC, which is small private online course from Cambridge about learning. And we were only 15 of us, and we didn't have webinars, but when we had these forum discussions, I could see some of the names repeating, and we also had peer assignments. So it was a bit better, but this course, this master's degree provided me with something kind of magical. Like what I thought about technology was used to facilitate actual real learning, and I kind of fell in love with the whole thing. But I also saw a lot of limitations, that we cannot only be dependent on technology. We also need this kind of teaching and human touch. And I wrote one sentence, which I want to read it. I think most of my colleagues at Tartu were teachers looking for techie touch into their teaching. I was an opposite. I was looking for the human touch into my already existing techie learning style of mine. So right now I'm talking from a different perspective. I'm not a teacher. I was the techie girl, and I still am. I still work in the tech field. But so I met teachers. I was this tech. So we kind of merged this ed and tech together, and it was really nice. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking about Tartu and continue about me being mother, because I know I don't have much time. So I was also a mother, and I wanted to tell you a small funny stories about how we handled this pandemic and how I got around this educational using technology in my kids' education. And for that, I want to share some family pictures. Okay, do I have permission? Can you give me the permission, Maro?
You have
Also,
it
tell
now.
me how much time I have.
You
Okay,
have around
thanks.
3 minutes.
Okay, so I will quick share some pictures. Can you see this? So this is April. Pandemic was new, and my job, me and my husband's job, decided that we need to move the country, leave country, and we went to Germany. And this is in the bus, in the plane. So we flew to Hamburg, and we thought that we were in quarantine for 2 weeks, and we thought that we would use all the new opportunities that we're raising, all these new online courses, some free subscriptions, the TV school, and I was really eager to really get into it and use all of it and don't waste any time. So here's my kids learning chess from one of the Georgian TV schools. But also in that 2 weeks, this happened. Like me, when I had, this is not we didn't really hold them too long there, but I had to do this to illustrate that what was going on in the small apartment when we were locked in together. Like we couldn't really handle, me, my husband, we had work meetings, I had Tartu meetings, and they were just going crazy. Anyway, so then we had to move to a different place where they actually could go outside. And this is what their experience looked like, online learning experience. And it was a small guest house and we didn't have much spaces. So they took all the rooms and they had all the schools. And meanwhile, I had to write my thesis. And this is where I had to work, outside. which is not so bad, I know, but who am I to whine about this? But anyway, this was quite a funny experience that we had to somehow use. We also bought 2 more devices for the family because we didn't have enough. And there was one more problem that my kids had to learn to use devices, because before that we didn't really allow them, and they had no digital skills at all. They didn't even know how to take pictures and not even go to the Google Classroom and send the assignment to. So all the classmates who had those skills were actually in big advantageous position, and it was a bit too much to handle at the same time. And one last picture. So this was my usual workplace, and I want you, audience, to guess the last working place. I think all of us actually, or maybe most of us know about it. Where else did I work from?
The picture is still uploading for me.
Huh?
Yeah, I cannot see the new picture either.
Yes.
No, I can't. Okay, I'm going to reveal it now. Yeah,
You're working
in the
from
bed.
it.
Yeah. So, and this was the beginning of the pandemic, and I don't know if I will share it for a few seconds. This is my recent webinar attendance. Well, I didn't even care too much about presenting and putting the webcam on, because as Ilokai said, we are all tired. We need to rest. We're all zoomed out. So let's just give ourselves a break and stop with this putting too much and using all the time to, learn all the new skills. So that's a message I wanted to. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your sneak peek into the private life of homeschooling the children, which is, like, I think us teachers need a reminder of that, to take care of parents and teachers and kids more than we used to. Thank you, Tatya.
Basically, we need teachers as a therapists to take care for everyone. We need,
Also, yes.
yeah, thank you, Tatia. That was really awesome. I always loved your posts about your children on Facebook and how they are driving you mad. This was really inspiring, and how you are trying to handle them. This is really, really good. And I think you touched upon one of the great points, that sometimes we might be trying to solve our problems using technology. Sometimes we need a human touch. Sometimes we need both. It's I think that you, in a way or another, you put a certain, like, many elements on the ground related to this, and how you have been handling your children also using technology. This is something that needs to be pondered and to be thought about. Also, Tatia is one of the founders of our EdTech community, and one of the most active ones there. So thank you, Tatia, for accepting our invitation today and for all the work that you are doing.
Thank you for organizing this.
Now with our third speaker, Primla. Primla, it's 4 a.m. now at Jamaica. You're still awake? 3:30? You're still alive? Okay, you're still awake?
Yes.
Yeah. Primla, you are from biomedical field, and your mother, you came to Tartu from Jamaica to study educational technology, and this is really interesting. please share with us your experiences, because you are away from, I don't know, I can't say you are away from teaching field. You are teaching, you are supporting your children, you are teaching a little bit in the, somehow in the academia. You're doing many things. So please share your experiences. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Could you let me share my screen? Unlike my other colleagues, I have to have something to look at and read and prompt me to have a presentation. Could you share let me share my screen?
You are allowed.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Coming. I'm not able to get it to show.
You can hit the present now button, and
I'm trying to hit it, but it's not letting me. Okay.
or maybe the read view, the next one to it.
Yes. Like I've touched it. There you go. Okay, so let me go back a little bit. So greetings from Jamaica. It's not as sunny as it usually is because you know it's 3 a.m. Forgive me, it's a bit dark, but I'm so grateful to be here and to hear my colleagues speak so well about our own experiences. I'm here to share about my past, present, and future with EdTech. As Maro mentioned, I taught in tertiary education for a while, and so I kind of had an experience that was different from my colleagues because I was teaching adults, and boy, they act different. They act like children. I think the children act better than the adults sometimes, but nonetheless, here is my experience. So, as you can see here, I have two characters on the screen, and I've labeled one me, and then Norm is the other one. I'm just going to put some questions up, and you don't have to answer them out loud, but I just want to kind of lay the foundation of what my experience was. So I have the questions. Can you tell what kind of relationship these two people have? Are they working together? Do you think they have the same goal? Are they using the same technique? And what would happen if they work together? So I'm just going to go ahead and answer. I'm not going too fast, and I hope I'm not being biased when I answer this way, because it is my own experience I'm talking about, but this, I believe, is what happens. I don't believe these two people are working together. I believe that they are in a combative or competitive relationship. Would you agree? Yes. So I've answered question 1 and 2. They're not working together. They're competing, almost combative. Do you think they have the same goal? I think this is a debatable point. Yes and no, because yes, they all want to get the ball into a goal, but not the same goal. So it's a debatable point, yes and no. Are they using the same technique? Well, I am not a footballer or soccer player. And so I would say, again, that's debatable. Maybe they're going to use a flexing of the foot or kicking another way. So it's possible that they're using the same technique, possible that they're not. And what would happen if they work together? Well, again, I'm on the left as me, and then that's the norm, the educational norm I was working with. If they work together, it wouldn't be a sport, would it? And a sport is an actual competitive event where two people or two teams are working against each other for a particular goal. No, that's what I found in my experience in education. It's not necessarily what it was meant to be, but it ended up happening that way. And so it was many times where I was trying to push an idea, advance an idea, which I thought was moving in the 21st century direction. And I was met with resistance. And I want to just ask you from that picture, who do you think is going to win that ball? Do you think it's me or the norm? I think it's the norm. That foot is closer to the ball than mine, eh? Right. So in terms of my EdTech journey so far, I started my university career in 2002. And we were doing our PowerPoint presentations, and we were talking face-to-face, lots of face-to-face. It's a vocational university, so we had lots of hands-on skills and so on. But in 2010, something wonderful happened, at least I thought so. the university high-handedly said, oh, let's put on Moodle. And I was like, oh God, that's great, that's cool. So I was so tied into this concept. They also said they'd remunerate us, they'd pay us. I was like, okay, yeah, cool. So I went ahead and I put all my courses online, on Moodle that is, and I spent the next 8 years until 2018 working so hard, putting everything online. And then I didn't even know I was teaching a blended format, but it ended up being that. And I thought I was perfecting it because I'd have classes every single day, face to face. Then I'd go home at night and type along. And then 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm answering student queries. And I'm like, wow, this is great. But then in that 8 years, something strange happened. I started to have failures where there were none. And where I had failures, in some cases, they increased. So I really couldn't understand what was happening. So this was not smooth. In that 8 years, I had to really try to understand what was going on with my students. At the same time, management was saying to me, oh yeah, you're doing a good job. Go online, keep online. So I didn't understand what was happening. And as any good teacher, well, any teacher really, see their students failing, you have to question, what are you doing wrong? The only thing I did differently was to go online. And then I noticed something too, the students had changed. So about 10 years, I think every 10 years you get a different type of learner. And so I couldn't meet them, even in the face-to-face class, I wasn't meeting them with the old tricks. So something was wrong. And I don't know if it was a cop-out or not, but I wasn't getting any answers when I asked management for help, and they didn't have the answers, and so I left. And as the universe would have it, and I have to big up my good friend, Joseph Branham, Dr. Joseph Branham, who actually helped, he was a change agent. He helped present the University of Tartu's program straight into my lap. It was just handed to me by God. And I didn't even know what an educational technologist was, but I said, all right, let me just, give in my application, and I got in. And it was there in that year, 2019 to 2020, that I began to understand what happened in those 8 years. And I was able to, for one of the courses, identify the problems, because you knew something was wrong, but you couldn't know how to even find out what the problem was. The program at EdTech at Tartu taught me. And so I was able to identify the problem, create this very inelegant tinker, but it worked. So all the students who were failing over and over again and actually used the tools, they passed. The problem was I was no longer a full-time staff member, so I couldn't mandate persons to use tools. I had to say it's of your own free will. And even then, you wouldn't want to tell students, demand that they do something. So this success was only for the persons who actually did say they would participate. The other ones might have actually failed or passed on their own efforts. But the idea is that I was able to have success. And if I was able to, because of my own responsibilities as a mother, I wasn't able to take on a PhD in it, but I really would. It was a very good thinker, a very good bridging of technology with education, and maybe the future will hold that for me. Now, having said all of that, I have to tell you now what I've understood has happened in this 10-year gap here. But I'm going to use a model that MIT has used to actually incorporate digital technology into commerce. What MIT has recognized is if you want to actually get to use technology properly, you go through several steps. Now I'm actually adopting this without their permission. Of course, it's just being able to understand what happened in those 10 years as a roadmap for using technology effectively in education. So in 2010, there was a realization step for me. I recognized things couldn't continue being the way they were. I had to now do something else. And so there was a realization stage. And so I was busy now in that 2010 to 2018, throwing technology at everything. Oh yes, let's put everything online. Let's give them Google Slides. Let's give them videos to watch. And at the same time I'm doing it, I'm like, oh wow, I'm teaching online. I'm using effective technology. But all I was doing was digitizing everything and overwhelming the students unknowingly. And when I left and came to the EdTech program, I recognized what I really want is to move from this to digital transformation. And what that really refers to practically is taking your curriculum and taking out the steps that are manual and replacing them with technology. Not throwing technology at everything, mind you, you have to know, utilize whatever processes are there that can be done with technology and make it easier. And of course, you still have to have the interaction with the teacher, but you're not necessarily just throwing technology willy-nilly, but rather you're actually using technology smart. And so for me, I'm moving into, after that year of the EdTech program, into what's next. Now, what's next? God knows. So this is where I'm at now. I would have loved to have been employed as an EdTech in Jamaica, but nobody is calling. I've been asking, nobody wants it. And the reason why they don't want it is because, let me just tell you quickly, they're stuck here. They just realized, after I realized several years ago, that you have to start putting things on, digitizing them. But this is where they are now, and kudos to them. Because before, some places didn't have internet connection, now they're getting it, and now they're digitizing everything. And the timetables that Elokai spoke about and Tatty spoke about, the timetables have not changed here. They're sitting down for 8 o'clock to 3 o'clock, sitting down, being taught. Are you here taking register like it was a face-to-face session? It's torture. They mean well, but again, this is where they're at. But we really need to move here and get further to meet our 21st century learners. So I'm not hitting out against anything that's happening. No, it's just that we have to move past this to get some significant, relevant change. So for me now, I'm an entrepreneur using EdTech to meet my clients all over the world. I'm also trying to build my EdTech skills. I am not the most techie person, but one of the things the Tartu program taught me was to be open to trying new things. So you'll never know all the technology, but if you have a brain and if you're willing to learn, as Elokai said, to be quiet and patient, you will get the knowledge. So that's one of the things that the Tartu program did for me. It opened me up to learning and being open to new knowledge. Another thing that I'm very big on now is educational data analytics. That's a big thing for me. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. And why that's important is because as we move forward into the future, the brick and mortar schools, as Tatty mentioned, they're being called into question for relevance. Do we need all of them? You have the MOOCs, you have the SPOCs, it's called them SPOCs, but you have, I think there's something else that's awaiting us. I believe that as we move into the 21st century further, I believe we need to marry e-commerce and, for the first part, tertiary education. But what does that mean? I believe that teachers can be taught how to monetize their skills. Teachers can be business people because knowledge is actually coming to your learners, as Tat just said. They can choose, and these learners are not like when I was growing up. They're very informed. They almost have an idea of what they want. They need guidance, but they're not just waiting for things to be put onto them. They will seek things. So I believe the future, part of the future for EdTechers is to help to marry e-commerce into education, making teachers monetize their skills, not locked into brick and mortar as before. And I'm not saying it's going to happen today, but I believe this is the way things are. Everybody has a potential now to be an earner of their own future, income streams coming in differently. It's not just because you're a teacher writing syllabi, that's a skill that can be monetized, in my estimation. And so I believe EdTechers have a few basic skills. And by basic, I'm not saying that they're low on the totem pole, they're quite big. I could be wrong, I'm still learning, but I believe EdTechers solve educational problems for digital solutions and they research. EdTechers are also data analytics, persons who are using educational data to identify problems. After they put in a solution, test to see if it's working and monitor that treatment to make sure it's working. And of course, research. I believe an EdTech, of course, can be an educator and a researcher. So you see that I'm talking about research being an underlying skill for all the different types of EdTechs. And again, EdTechs have all of these things, but I believe into the future, you'll be able to specialize into any one of these as you go along. And this one is left blank. An innovator still, but because we're going into this unknown territory, you don't know what you're heading into, but it's unknown, it's scary, but that's the way things are going, you know? And so as I close, I'd like to leave you with a few things, a few quotations I've picked up along the way. And I would like to say that COVID-19 has simply exacerbated what occurred from the 1990s when the internet became available. COVID-19 did not ask us to just start teaching online. It was always there. It was always a possibility for us to utilize that. But the answer is not just using technology, it's using it wisely. So I'd like to just remind us all, disrupt or be disrupted. This is where we're heading. Things are changing at a fast rate. We have no idea what's happening, and we can't just put our hands up and say, I don't know what to do. You have to understand that educational technology is a subversive discipline. It changes things. It turns everything on its head. And it's not to be afraid of it, but rather to be open to the change. Pivot into the unknown. Again, that speaks for itself. Again, scary, but still relevant. Shifting to growth mindsets. Again, that sounds lovely. It's a buzzword I heard Marwa mention in one of our EdTech community meetings. And it's, I believe, from Carol Dweck. Sounds nice, very hard to do. But still, if you have any hopes of moving into the 21st century, you have to understand what a growth mindset is. Where you are on that paradigm. Are you digitizing, or are you moving toward digital transformation? And this one is my favorite, taken from Anastasia. Technology won't solve your problem. You will, using technology. And so I've broken away from the norm. I took the red pill. The blue pill is the norm. Where do you lie? Thank you.
I love Anastasia's quote.
It's an
that
awesome
was-
quote.
Thank you so much.
I like it too.
Impressive.
I like it too.
Yeah, Anastasia's top quote and the whole presentation.
It was,
That was very inspiring. That was very inspiring. That reflects how powerful our community is.
It is.
Because,
Yes.
yeah,
It
yeah,
is.
from Jamaica to Anastasia.
Yes.
So this is really impressive.
Yes.
This is really impressive. Primla, I don't know what to say, but your presentation was. Thank you for taking us that deep. That's what I can say. And I think the three presentations today took us from a place to the other, from experience to the other, three different experiences. And I'm happy to say that the master is gathered us all. I mean, and I think this is beautiful because you and Tatia graduated in 2019. Anastasia is a current student. Ilukai graduated in 2018, and I graduated in 2019. Sorry, you and Tatia 2020, and which means that the four groups are already here and cooperating. So we are done with today. And Anastasia, would you like to say something?
I've been just listening to everybody. I was so impressed by whatever they had to share. It's so beautiful and it's so like different. So we still have so much to learn from each other. And yeah, I just felt so blessed that we decided to stick to each other basically and not let it go. So we actually made a platform so that would allow us to keep in contact, like all four generations and everybody who is yet to join us. So we are still collaborating together. We're still working on different projects and we're still enriching each other's experiences. And I think it's a beautiful step towards the new era for us as teachers, us as students, us as parents, just us as people, basically.
Thank you. So is there any questions or comments? We came to an end, sadly. So if there are any comments or questions, we would be happily taking them. It is really impressive listening to all the experiences. Congratulations to you all. Happy Women's Day. Thank you. Thank you. I would like here to thank all the men who supported this event. Our director, Master Director Emanuele Bardone, my colleagues Eric Bufassi and Eric Holden. So I think, yeah, it was just the theme of the day, but it is a community more than women. It's full of cooperation between different people, different genders, different experiences, different everything. So I think we came to an end. Thank you everyone for your listening, for your time today.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
And hope
All the very
we
best to
we
you.
hope to see you soon. Bye.
Have a great
Bye-bye.
day.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.